Open the app. There she is, Julia, age 42, 3 photos, all heavily filtered, all taken from the perfect angle that hides everything time revealed. Her bio is simple: looking for my person. Love yoga, travel, and authentic connections. Positive vibes only. No games. If you can't handle a strong, independent woman, swipe left. Seems harmless, maybe even appealing to some. But if you understand the language, you're reading a confession. A 20-year confession of choices, rejections, and consequences disguised as optimism. She's been looking for her person for 2 decades. She found him multiple times. She rejected him every single time because he wasn't perfect enough. Wasn't 6'2", didn't make 6 figures yet. Wasn't as exciting as she imagined her soulmate would be. Now, she's 42, childless, never married, still swiping, still looking, still convinced her person is out there somewhere. Let me translate what her profile actually means. When a 25-year-old says, looking for my person, it's normal. Expected. She has time, options, biology on her side. It means exactly what it says. When a 42-year-old says it, it's different. It's a confession masked as hope. Translation: I've been looking for 20 years. I rejected every viable option because I believed in soulmates. I thought perfect was out there waiting. I refused to compromise. I refused to settle. I refused to recognize good men when they were actually available. Now I'm 42 biologically. Past motherhood, watching everyone from my past build families, and I'm still here, still swiping, still believing the fairy tale. Still refusing to accept that my person was probably one of the 5 good men I rejected in my 20s because they weren't exactly what I imagined. That's what looking for my person means at 42. It's not romantic, it's not hopeful. It's evidence of 2 decades of bad choices based on fantasy instead of reality. Sarah's been searching since she was 22, fresh out of college, dating market value at its peak, options everywhere. Good men interested? Year 1, met Jake, good guy, stable job. Wanted commitment, she rejected him. Not exciting enough, I need to explore, I'm too young to settle. Year 4, met Ryan. Better job, actually exciting. Wanted to build something, she rejected him. He's only 5'10", I need someone taller, I have standards. Year 7, met Michael, tall, successful, ready for marriage, she rejected him. The spark wasn't there, I can't force chemistry, I'll know my person when I meet him. Year 10, met David. Everything she said she wanted. She rejected him anyway. Something feels off, I can't explain it. I just know he's not the one. Year 15, panic setting in, lowering standards. But quality men are married now, dating pool decimated. Still rejecting because settling is worse than being alone. Year 20, age 42. Still looking. Standards somehow still high despite depleted options. Still believing her person is one swipe away. Her profile says no games, sounds reasonable. Who wants games? But at 42 and never married, no games signals something different to men who can read between the lines. Translation: I played games for 20 years. I kept men in orbits while I looked for better options. I entertained attention from men I'd never commit to. I dated casually while rejecting men who wanted serious. I treated dating like a shopping experience where I could always return and exchange. Now I'm desperate for commitment from quality men who learned not to waste time on women like me. Men at 42 remember women like Julia from their 20s. They remember being rejected while she dated the exciting guy who wouldn't commit. They remember being told they were great, but she wasn't ready. Now, she's ready. They're married. And they're not interested in rescuing women who rejected them when they actually had value to offer. No games at 42 means I wasted 2 decades playing games and now I'm panicking. Sarah genuinely believes in soulmates. One perfect person designed specifically for her. She'll just know when she meets him. The spark will be undeniable. Everything will align perfectly. That's what the movies promised. What the culture reinforced. What her friends validated. So she rejected Jake because the spark wasn't overwhelming enough. She rejected Ryan because he was 2 inches shorter than her fantasy. She rejected Michael because she couldn't see herself with him long term, even though he checked every practical box. She rejected David because something undefined felt off. She was waiting for the soulmate. The perfect match. The undeniable alignment. The feeling that would make the decision obvious. 20 years later, she's still waiting, still believing, still rejecting imperfect options because perfect is supposedly out there. Meanwhile, the women who married Jake, Ryan, Michael, and David built soulmate-level connections through years of partnership, shared experiences, raising children together, and choosing each other daily. Sarah rejected good men waiting for a fairy tale. They became someone else's fairy tale. If you're a man who got rejected by women looking for their person back then, comment what happened. And if you see these profiles now 42, never married, still looking, share your observations. This pattern is everywhere. Positive vibes only seems harmless, aspirational even. Who doesn't want positivity? At 42 and never married, it reveals something darker. Translation: I can't handle reality. I can't accept consequences. I can't acknowledge that my choices led directly to my current situation. I need everyone around me to validate my delusions. I need to blame bad luck, wrong timing, and unavailable men instead of recognizing my role in this outcome. I need positive reinforcement that my person is still out there, that 42 isn't too late, that my fertility isn't gone, that quality men will still choose me over younger women. I can't handle the truth, so I demand only positive vibes. Men her age recognize this instantly. It signals, don't tell me hard truths, don't mention that I rejected you 15 years ago, don't point out that my standards eliminated every viable option, don't acknowledge biology, just tell me what I want to hear. It's not positivity, it's consequence avoidance disguised as optimism. Here's the devastating reality Julia won't acknowledge. Her person existed multiple times. She rejected him every time. Jake was her person. He wanted to build a life with her, marry her at 26, have kids at 28, 30, 32, raise a family together, grow old together. He was available, interested, committed, ready. She rejected him because he wasn't exciting enough. He married Michelle 6 months later. They just celebrated their 16th anniversary. 3 kids, happy family. A life Julia says she wants but rejected when it was actually offered. Ryan was her person. Michael was her person. David was her person. Each one offered exactly what she claims she's looking for now. Each one was rejected for reasons that seem absurd in retrospect. Too short. Spark wasn't strong enough. Something felt off. Not perfect enough. Now they're all married. All unavailable. All living the lives Julia could have had if she'd recognized her person when he was standing right in front of her, wanting her, choosing her, offering her everything. Quality men at 42 understand statistics. They understand patterns. They understand what never married signals at this age. It signals she's been in the dating market for 20 plus years, and nobody could meet her standards, or she couldn't commit, or both. It signals unrealistic expectations, pattern rejection of viable partners, inability to compromise. Possibly personality issues that become obvious in relationships, possibly unreasonable demands, possibly a fantasy version of partnership that doesn't exist in reality. Quality men aren't taking that risk. Not when they can date 35-year-olds with lower mileage, more fertility, and realistic expectations. Not when they remember women like Julia rejecting them in their 20s while they built their value. They look at 42, never married, looking for my person, and translate it correctly. I rejected every good option waiting for perfect. Now I'm desperate but still have standards. I offer depleted fertility and 20 years of relationship failure. But I expect you to see past all that. They swipe left. Sarah's profile doesn't mention children, doesn't mention family, doesn't mention the biological reality that makes looking for my person at 42 fundamentally different from looking at 22. At 42, natural fertility is essentially gone. IVF success rates below 5%. High-risk pregnancy territory. The window closed. The timeline expired. Men who want families understand this. They're not swiping right on 42-year-old profiles unless they're looking for casual dating or already have children from previous relationships. Sarah's avoiding this reality, pretending age is just a number, pretending she has time, pretending quality men who want families will choose her over 30-year-olds with fertility still intact. The men she rejected at 25 had kids at 28, 30, 32, easy pregnancies, high energy for parenting young children, the optimal biological window. Sarah rejected that timeline. Now she's swiping, pretending it doesn't matter, pretending her person will appear, and the biology won't apply. It applies. It already applied. The question isn't why she's on Tinder at 42. The question is, why is she still approaching it the same way she did at 22? Same mentality, same belief system, same soulmate fantasy, same refusal to compromise. Same, knowing what she wants, same standards that eliminated every viable partner for 20 years. She's still swiping because she can't accept the alternative. Can't accept that she made catastrophic choices. Can't accept that her person was offered multiple times and rejected. Can't accept that the fairy tale isn't real. Can't accept that compromise was necessary. Can't accept that she wasted her peak years chasing perfection, so she swipes, creates new profiles, updates photos with better filters, adjusts bio language, tries different apps. Believes this time will be different. 20 years of the same approach. 20 years of the same results. Still believing the outcome will change. Sarah tells herself stories. Everyone does when facing uncomfortable realities. I just haven't met the right person yet. He's out there. I'd rather be alone than settle. I know my worth. I won't compromise on what I deserve. The right person will appreciate me. Age is just a number. 40 is the new 30. I still have time. My person will appear when the timing is right. These aren't standards. They're coping mechanisms. Ways to avoid accepting responsibility for 2 decades of choices that led directly to 42, childless, never married, and still swiping. Real standards would have helped her recognize quality men when they appeared in her 20s. Real standards would have prioritized character over height. Real standards would have valued commitment over excitement. Real standards would have led to marriage and family instead of 20 years on dating apps. What she calls standards were actually fantasies. Unrealistic expectations. Rejection patterns disguised as knowing what she wants. And now she's living the consequences while calling it refusing to settle. If Yulia could hear the truth, here's what her profile actually communicates to men who can read it. I'm 42, never married, biologically past motherhood, with 20 years of rejecting viable partners because I believed in fairy tales. I offer no fertility, minimal time, and the same unrealistic standards that kept me single for 2 decades. I'm desperate now, but still frame it as selective. I want you to see past my age, my history, my depleted options, and choose me anyway. I want you to be my person. Even though I rejected my person multiple times when I actually had value in the dating market. I want the commitment I refused to give good men in my 20s. I want the family I could have had if I'd made different choices. And I want you to pretend none of this matters because I do yoga and have positive vibes. That's the translation. That's what looking for my person means at 42. The men who were her person are celebrating anniversaries with the women who said yes. Sarah's still swiping, still looking, still believing. 20 years later. Comment, have you seen these profiles? Women 40 plus, who've been looking for their person for 20 years, or are you one of the guys they rejected back when they had options? Drop your story below. Subscribe for more brutal reality about modern dating dynamics.